I woke up to an empty house. Mom had sold all my furniture and left for a trip. Your sister deserves Paris, they said. I just smiled. 2 weeks later, they came back, and the surprise I had waiting for her left her speechless. I came home after a brutal 14-hour shoot, drained and ready for bed. But when I unlocked my front door, my world imploded. Every single thing I owned, my couch, my bed, even my salt lamps, was gone. And the punch to the gut? It wasn't a robbery, it was family. So, my name's Griffin. I'm 28, a videographer. I'm also, conveniently, the oldest kid in my family and the go-to guy for anything involving cameras, invoices, or just, money. Translation? I'm the one they call when they need something filmed for free, moved for free, or paid for. Just this once, of course. I've got this small rental house on the edge of town, with a lemon tree out back and a mailbox that honestly looks like it's just tired of delivering bad news. I live pretty quietly. My gear is neatly packed in labeled cases. I keep my head down. I keep the peace. Or at least, I used to. Then there's my sister, Sloane. She's the golden one. Always has been. Picture this. Charming, quick with a joke, the kind of person who gets a flat tire and ends up with two strangers changing it for her, while she's on her phone, posting about angel energy. Seriously, in every family photo, she's right in the middle, bathed in light. In every conversation, she's always on the cusp of something huge, a music degree, a fashion internship, becoming a content creator, a residency in Paris. All these big dreams. And the money for those dreams? It always seemed to almost come from somewhere. More often than not, that somewhere was me. I learned early on how to be useful. Like, if Dad started, "Griff, get the ladder," I swear I'd have it before he finished the sentence. If Mom hit me with, "Griff, be a sweetheart and cover this," my debit card was already out. I genuinely thought this was just normal. I figured you just absorbed all the sharp edges, swallowed the pain, and kept going. That's what family did, right? So, this all leads to about 2 weeks ago. I just wrapped up a 14-hour wedding shoot. The kind that leaves you completely wiped out, but also buzzing with creative energy. It was almost midnight. I pulled into my driveway, saw the porch light on, smelled the clean, citrusy scent of my lemon trees. I unlocked the door, stepped inside, and just froze. My house was empty. My couch, gone. The IKEA bookshelves I'd painstakingly assembled at 2 in the morning, gone. My bed, my coffee table, that cool thrifted rug, the TV I'd paid off in 6 painful installments, all of it, gone. Even those cheap salt lamps Sloane once ironically called Vibe Glue. Nothing. The only thing left was a single, neatly folded note on the kitchen counter. My mother's careful, looping cursive. It read, "Don't be upset. We sold what you weren't using. It's all for Sloane's Paris program. You can sleep at Grandma's for now. Love you." Just like that. I read it again. And again. Like maybe, if I just stared hard enough, the words would rearrange themselves into something sane. Something that made sense. Then my phone buzzed. It was Dad. "Son," he said, his voice annoyingly warm. Like this was just a friendly catch-up call. "Your sister deserves Paris." I stood there, staring at the pale square on the counter where my microwave used to sit. "Don't worry about furniture," he added, completely dismissive. "It's just material. Paris builds character." I just leaned against a bare wall, a hollow echo all around me. I tried to laugh, I really did. Nothing came out. Just silence. "Okay," I heard myself say. Just that. Calm. Even. Like a cameraman steadying a shaky shot. Even as my entire world felt like it was crumbling. After that call, I just stood there, in the middle of my empty living room, listening to the quiet. A dog barked somewhere. A car passed. I looked at that note one last time. Then, I walked over to my gear case. Opened it. I checked every camera, every lens, counted batteries like some kind of silent prayer. Zipped it shut. That night, I slept on the floor. My hoodie for a pillow, my jacket pulled over me. Cold. Flat. The lemon tree outside kept thumping against the window in the wind. At 4 in the morning, I just gave up pretending to sleep. I got up, and I started writing. Dates. Amounts. Names. 14 days later, they landed back from Paris. And by then, I had something ready for Sloane. A gift. Oh, it was a gift, all right. Something much bigger than furniture. The kind that definitely doesn't fit in a box. When she finally saw it, she just went quiet. If you want to understand why a grown man slept on his cold, empty floor, plotting, instead of exploding on the phone at midnight, well, you need to hear the prequel. You need to know how it all started. I've always been the background brother. Useful, reliable, unremarkable, in that way that just makes people feel incredibly safe asking for things. Like I was just there to facilitate their lives. When we were kids, Sloan was always on the main stage. Recitals, pageants, birthday parties with full-blown themes, and rented ponies. My birthdays? Usually just pizza, paper plates, and Dad's tired joke about another year, another lens cap. I learned really young that the camera always points where the light already is. And for my family, that light was never on me. So, I learned to adjust. To just fade. At 18, I bought my first DSLR, painstakingly saving money from editing local commercials. Mom's comment, "You're lucky you don't need college." Dad chimed in with, "If it doesn't work out, there's always trade school." And when it did start working out, slowly, then suddenly, nobody really said much. I shot softball highlights for $20. Cut together church videos for exposure. Filmed my uncle's second wedding for free because, family. I didn't actually mind any of it. I genuinely loved the work. And the work, it loved me back. It was my quiet win. Money was always this weird, hazy fog in our house. Dad would puff out his chest, pat his belly like it was some kind of bank vault, and declare, "We're comfortable." Then, 5 minutes later, he'd ask me to spot him for the electric bill. Just this month. Mom loved investments in beauty, hair, nails, a vase that cost what I spent on groceries for a month. But Sloan? She didn't even have to ask. Her needs were just woven into the family schedule. If she needed a phone upgrade, suddenly my upgrade was due first, and we'll just give yours to her, and you take the promo deal. If she needed a new dress, somehow my card would accidentally cover it, because your Amazon account is linked to the family one from high school. Griffin, just dispute it later. But I never did. Not once. I used to genuinely believe that keeping the peace was love, that you just didn't make waves, because waves could drown people. So, I learned to be flat water. Calm. Unmoving. But the numbers, man, they started piling up like sandbags. 2 years ago, it was $1,200 to fix Sloan's bumper because she'd tapped a fire hydrant. 18 months ago, $612 for her textbook bundle. Money I sent at 1 a.m., pretending not to notice I was skipping rent and racking up late fees to do it. A year ago, a staggering $6,842 to clear a credit card she'd co-signed with Mom for points. And then, predictably, just forgot to pay. Then last fall, $89 every single month for her line on my phone plan, because she needed faster data to upload reels. And then there were all the small things. The ones you don't even count because they seem tiny, until they're not. Griff, can you cover gas? I'm literally at the light. Text. Apple Pay. Griff, can you grab groceries? I'm meal prepping. Venmo. Griff, we need your camera for a week. It's an emergency. And you know what? It always was. Emergencies, it seems, just love to follow the golden child's glitter. They shine, they stick, to everyone else. Through all this, I just kept working. I built a small, but real business. All word of mouth, repeat clients. A local nonprofit trusted me with their yearly fundraising film. A wedding venue put me on their recommended list. I even landed 3 solid corporate clients who specifically liked that I could make things look expensive without being expensive. I used my own money to get that little rental house I told you about, because a friend of a friend needed a responsible tenant, someone who wouldn't throw parties or poke holes in the drywall. I signed the lease. I paid on time. And I planted that lemon tree, hoping for a little peace. So, that day, the day my furniture vanished, I'd been shooting a wedding. The bride just broke down, crying, when her dad read a note he'd saved from when she was 5 years old. My cameras were just eating emotion all day. I went home feeling completely drained, but in a good way, happy even. And then, I walked into that empty shell. Mom's note, remember? We sold what you weren't using. That line, man, that did something ugly to my stomach. Because I had handpicked every single piece of furniture in that house over the past 2 years. I used that couch. I used that damn bed. I just never invited them over. I didn't flash my life for them. And maybe that was the real problem. If you don't perform your life for certain people, they just edit it for you. The next morning, At 6 a.m., I called my landlord. He sounded groggy, then absolutely horrified. Your mother said you were moving out, he stammered. She brought a woman who runs those estate sales, very fast, I thought. I'm so sorry, Griffin. I thought you told her to handle it. He just kept apologizing. I told him it wasn't his fault. It wasn't. Next, I called the number taped to the notice. Circle and Key Estate Liquidation, Compassionate Downsizing. That's what it said. The woman on the phone, very businesslike, told me, we collected $3,400 after fees. It went to your mother's card. Compassion, I thought, a bitter taste in my mouth. I texted Mom, you sold my bed. Her reply? A heart emoji, followed by, you'll understand when you have children. Unbelievable. Around noon, Dad called. From the airport. He sounded so proud. First time in Paris, he boasted. Your sister cried at the Eiffel Tower. She's finally getting what she deserves. What she deserves? I asked, my voice flat. To feel special, he said, as if that explained everything. I just looked down at my empty floor. Then, he added, almost gently, stop being dramatic about furniture, son. It's just stuff. We'll throw you a housewarming when you get a new place. Maybe you'll meet a nice girl who likes minimalism. He actually laughed at his own joke. Okay, I said again. I don't know why. Maybe because trying to argue with a man already in Paris, celebrating the very thing he helped steal from you, feels exactly like yelling at a plane. Pointless. That night, I took my camera gear to my grandmother's empty den. I set up my laptop on the floor, a blanket underneath me, and I started editing. Not a wedding. I started making lists. One was labeled what I pay for, ongoing. Another, one-time payments. I meticulously wrote down dates, exact amounts, screenshots of bank transfers, highlighted lines on statements. Every single time I'd said yes, and hadn't even gotten a thank you. I even had to print some pages at the library because, guess what? My printer was gone too. As days passed, the texts rolled in. Day 3, Mom sent photos, Sloan under a stone arch, Sloan holding a pastry. Caption, Paris is for dreamers. Day 5, my uncle texted, your mom says you're being difficult. Be nice. It's only money. With a winking face and a thumbs up, like we were in on some big joke. Day 8, Sloan posted a reel of her spinning in a dress on a balcony, Rihanna blasting in the background. Caption, we get one life. On day 10, Mom finally mentioned what had happened. Did you know your couch had a tear? She wrote. The buyers barely noticed. That was a blessing. I read it twice. I almost replied, yeah, I noticed. It was my couch. On day 11, I just sat there, staring at the number in my savings account. I could buy a new bed. I could probably buy 10 new beds. But I realized I didn't want to patch a hole when the whole damn ceiling was still leaking. The furniture wasn't the problem. The problem was the story we all kept telling ourselves. This idea that I was just a resource, an endless well to be tapped. That Sloan's glitter was everyone's job to fund. That my yes would stay automatic forever. On day 12, Mom called. From a museum gift shop, she said, breathless. Listen, Sloan's program is more than we thought. The housing upgrade is another $2,600, but it's really safer. And there's a media lab she can use. I told her you'd be thrilled to help. You work in media, Griffin. It's like synergy. Mom, I said. She dropped her voice, suddenly icy. Don't be petty. There it was. That word. The one they always pull out for kids like me when we finally stop absorbing everything. Petty. As if setting a boundary is just a tantrum. I'll talk to you when you're back, I told her. Griffin, she snapped, her voice sharp now. We're on a different continent, and I'm doing everything I can for your sister's future. Try meeting me halfway. Okay, I said. Because the halfway she wanted was my side of the line. Always. On day 13, I walked into the bank. I closed the family emergency fund account I'd opened when I was 20. The teller asked if I wanted to explain why. No, I said, looking her straight in the eye. I think I finally understand why. On day 14, I unlocked the door to my still empty living room. I set up 2 light stands, my smallest camera, and a lav mic. On my laptop, I titled the project, Paris Furniture / The Math. Then, I started a second project, with a different title. That one was just for me. For my own sanity. They landed on a Sunday. I knew because Mom's location shared itself with me again, like a boomerang. She always forgets to disable it when she gets a new phone. JFK, home. The little airplane icon crawled across my screen. At 5 p.m., Dad texted, family dinner. 6 sharp. Sloan has news. I put on a clean shirt, packed my laptop, and drove to the house I grew up in. The porch still smelled of rosemary and furniture polish. The door, as usual, was unlocked. Griffey. Mom cried from the kitchen, rushing to hug me. It was one of those hugs that implied I was forgiven for some unnamed transgression. Paris was magical. Sloan is transformed. Sloan walked in, airport hair perfectly coiffed, a scarf tied like it was fresh out of a magazine. She kissed my cheek. Missed you, she chirped, like we'd just gone a week without coffee. We ate roast chicken. Dad rambled on about a waiter who called him Monsieur, like it was some kind of promotion. Sloan pulled out her phone to show me a video of a fountain. Then Mom clapped her hands together. Okay, she beamed. We have something special to discuss. I reached into my backpack, pulled out my laptop, and placed it on the table. Me too, I said. Sloan giggled. Oh, you first. Sure, I said. I opened the first project. The title card flashed, what I pay for. The very first frame was a screenshot. A bank transfer. To Mom. $6,842. Subject line, card payoff. I hit the spacebar. The video started. Receipts. Dates. Little captions. My voice, calm, like a documentary narrator I'd produce for a client, played over it. April 4th, $612 for textbooks. April 29th, $89 for a phone line. May 13th, $1,200 for a bumper. June through December, $534 in miscellaneous Venmo payments. January, $340 for utilities you forgot were in my name. Mom actually laughed. Lightly. This is dramatic, Griffin, she said. I didn't even look at her. I just let the math keep going. February, $400 for program application fees. March, $3,000 for $100, estate sale proceeds from my furniture. Dad stopped cutting his chicken. The next frame on the screen was my empty living room. Then, a clip of my landlord's voicemail, apologizing. I kept my hands flat on the table. Rock steady. Griffin, Mom whispered, her voice small now. We didn't think you'd take it personally. Sloan, always ready to jump in, added, it's for my education. I paused the video, looked straight at my sister. I'm glad you had a good trip, I said. I really am. And I meant it. She looked sunlit, vibrant, completely alive. But you sold my bed. She rolled her eyes, then caught herself. We can get you a better one, she said, trying to sound generous. When the brand deals start hitting, I'll pay you back so fast. Dad cleared his throat. Son, he started. Your sister deserves. This isn't about deserve. I cut him off. I clicked to the second project. A new title card appeared. The gift. The big living room TV across the table suddenly lit up as I cast my screen. The first frame was simple, a gray background, a single line of text. Effective today, these are my boundaries. I'd recorded myself reading them, because my voice stays steady in a voiceover. The mic doesn't care if your hands are shaking. 1. I will not fund Sloan's programs, residencies, trips, or upgrades. 2. I am removing every family member from my phone plan. All lines transfer tonight at midnight. I've already paid the final balance. 3. I will not provide loans or cash fronts. If there is an emergency, call 911. Not me. 4. If you need me to film something, you will receive my rate card in writing. 5. The spare key to my house needs to be returned tonight. 6. Any item removed from my home without my consent will be reported as theft. Mom's face just crumpled. Griffin, she whispered, you can't talk to your mother like you're a landlord. I'm talking to you like an adult. I corrected her, my voice still even. Sloan tried to laugh it off. You're making a whole presentation. I just nodded to the screen. The next frame popped up. It was a screenshot, a police report confirmation number. I hadn't filed it yet, just the draft. I let that sit there for a long, quiet second. Then, I clicked to the last slide. A photo. A simple, sturdy full-size bed frame and mattress. Scheduled for delivery to my house tonight, at 7 p.m. Paid for by me. I turned to my sister. On the table in front of me was a simple manila folder, her name clearly written on it. I pushed it across to her. What is this? She asked. A budget, I replied. For your life without my money. Inside. A prepaid monthly bus pass, a list of part-time jobs that actually fit her schedule, a checklist to move her number off my phone plan, and a printed letter. 10 sentences. Hard to write. Even harder to say. I watched her read, one hand slowly lifting to her mouth, her eyes wide. Dad shot up from his seat, fast enough to make the glasses rattle. "You're punishing your sister for being talented," he boomed. "No," I said, standing to face him. "I'm refusing to be stolen from again." He took a step towards me, years of his imposing height, years of his voice filling rooms, trying to intimidate. "We did what we had to," he insisted. I kept my tone perfectly even. "This isn't about revenge," I told him. "This is about closure." The room went utterly quiet, like someone had just hit mute. Mom sank back down, tears blinking in her eyes. "We needed Paris," she said, weakly. "You needed a bed," I countered. Sloane swallowed hard. Her eyes were bright, angry, then something else. Something I couldn't quite place. She looked down at the folder again. I closed the laptop. "I'll be at my place," I said. "Text me when the key is ready. Don't walk out." Mom cried, her voice breaking. "I'm not walking away from you," I told her. "I'm walking back to me." I walked out of my childhood home. For the first time in years, my shoulders felt loose. Free. In the driveway, the sky above looked like a clean slate. My phone buzzed before I even started the car. A single text from Sloane. "Is that really my phone bill now?" I typed back, "Yes." And then, for a long, long time, she said nothing at all. The first 24 hours after that dinner, they were loud. Loud in all the wrong ways. Mom called 17 times. Dad, 12. 2 aunts, 5 each. Even my uncle, who apparently thinks sarcasm is leadership, left a voicemail. "I guess we're doing spreadsheets now, huh?" By noon Monday, my call log looked like a slot machine stuck on the same 3 angry faces. I didn't answer a single one. Instead, I went back to my empty house. I accepted the delivery guy's quiet pity as they brought in my new bed. I made the mattress with clean sheets, simple, white. It felt like a truce. I set one lamp on a cardboard box and made coffee with a borrowed kettle. I filmed a small product video for a local brand, because deadlines don't care about family drama. I just kept my hands moving. At 2 p.m., Sloane texted me a screenshot of her phone plan transfer page. "It wants a PIN," she wrote. I sent it. 10 minutes later, she wrote again. "It says I need to pick a plan." My reply? "Yes." She didn't respond for a while. An hour later, another text. "This is robbery." I just wrote back. "Yep." At 6 that evening, Dad just showed up on my porch. No knock. "Son," he said, walking straight in like he owned the place, or like I'd invited him. "You made your point. Now return the spare key so we can stop this nonsense." He looked around at my new bed, still largely alone in the empty room. "You living like a monk now? That's not healthy." I just held out my hand. "Key." He scoffed. "You think I carry it? Your mother has it." He patted his pockets. "Tell her to bring it," I said. He just stared at me for a second, like he was waiting for the old Griffin to magically reappear. But I wasn't flinching. When he saw that, he tried a different angle. "We raised you," he said, his voice low. "We put a roof over your head for 18 years. We didn't invoice you. You also didn't sell my bed," I shot back. His jaw tightened. "Sloane is a once-in-a-generation talent. She can also be a once-in-a-generation adult," I said. "It's not either/or." He just shook his head, like I was speaking a foreign language he refused to understand. "You used to be kind," he murmured. "I still am," I replied. "I'm just not a doormat anymore." He left. The door stuck, just like it always does when it's humid. The lemon tree brushed against the window. I let my breath out slowly. That night, I moved all my gear into the bedroom, just so I could lock the door. You know, in case someone decided to borrow a lens. I cooked eggs on a camping stove in the kitchen. I also wrote an email to my 3 best clients, calmly explaining my temporary minimalist setup and offering them a small discount for the week. It was my way of controlling one thing I could control. 2 of them replied within 10 minutes. "Take your time. We're not going anywhere." By Wednesday, the number of missed calls on my phone had hit 74. Mom's texts had shifted, too, from scolding, to sentimental, to suddenly strategic. Family always forgives. Then, "Griffey, I miss your face." And finally, the inevitable. "Can you please send $300? Sloane's card keeps declining for some reason." My reply? "No." She sent a long, Dramatic message back about how utterly embarrassing it was to get declined at a boutique near Notre Dame. I didn't point out that she was already home. I didn't say that sometimes embarrassment can teach you things kindness never will. I didn't say anything at all. On Thursday, my grandmother called. Her voice, papery and soft, said, "I don't understand all this, Griffin. But I do know beds are for sleeping, not selling. Your mother is stubborn, just like her mother. Give her a week. She'll bring the key." "I love you," I said. "I love you too, dear," she replied. "Also, I watched that video you made for the animal shelter. The sad pit bull. Oh, it made me cry, and then donate. That's power, Griffin. Use it for good." "I'm trying," I told her. And I truly was. Friday came, and with it, work. I shot a small piece for a local restaurant. That night, I sat on my new bed, editing, my laptop warm against my legs. It felt almost normal. At 10:03 p.m., my phone lit up. A whole paragraph from Sloan. "I don't know how to do any of this," she wrote. "I signed up for the wrong plan, and I can't figure out student housing, and my bank says there's a hold, and Mom is crying, and Dad is yelling, and I feel like I'm going to drown." I typed, then deleted 3 different versions of a lecture. Finally, I just wrote, "Start with one thing. Phone first. Go to the store. Ask questions. Pay your own bill. You can do it." She didn't reply that night. The next morning, though, she sent a photo. From inside a phone store. She looked small, a little overwhelmed. The caption, "This guy is helping." Half an hour later. "Okay, it's done." "Good," I wrote back. A small step, but a step. Sunday. Mom texted, "Dinner. 6. Come home." My reply, "Bring the key." No answer. But I went anyway. When I walked in, the dining table was set for 5. Dad at the head, Mom to his right, Sloan to his left. And right in the middle of my plate, a key. Mom kept her eyes glued to the mashed potatoes. After grace, she cleared her throat. "I overstepped," she said, each word like pulling a nail. "I should have asked." "That's true," I said, keeping my voice soft. "Being right doesn't require volume." She looked up, almost timidly, like she was checking if I was going to punish her. "I didn't think you'd mind," she mumbled. "You always help." "I know," I said. "That's why I had to stop." Dad started to say something, but Sloan actually touched his sleeve. She looked at me, really looked. "I read the whole folder," she admitted. "I actually didn't know half those numbers." I didn't ask because I didn't want to know." "I know," I said. She pushed the key, the one on my plate, toward me. "I'm sorry," she said, not blinking. "For the bed." I took the key. It felt heavier than it should have. "Thank you," I said. Dad, however, was still fuming. He stabbed a carrot like it was personally responsible. "So what? We're just all accountants now?" he muttered, clearly annoyed. "Maybe we've been everything but," I replied. He rolled his eyes. "You think you're better than us because you can list things?" "I think I'm responsible for me," I said, meeting his gaze. "And I'm done being responsible for you." We ate mostly in silence after that. No one asked about Paris. No one asked about my work. Mom, almost on autopilot, asked if I wanted leftovers. I said no. It felt like a metaphor. When I stood to leave, Mom reached for my arm, her grip tight. "You won't disappear, will you?" she asked. "I'm not disappearing," I told her, gently pulling my arm free. "I'm just picking what I carry now." Back at my place, I placed the key on my own counter. I just stared at it until my eyes blurred. That night, I slept hard. Dreamless. Monday morning, something completely new happened. I woke up before my alarm. I made my own coffee. I opened my calendar and saw open space. Space where there used to be other people's urgent demands. I walked out to my lemon tree, picked one small, bright fruit, and put it on the windowsill, like proof that life still makes beautiful things. Then, I did something I'd postponed for a year. I raised my rates. I sent out the new sheet with a kind, clean email. My scope has expanded. My value has too. 2 clients said yes immediately. 1 even replied, "We wondered when you'd do this." I bought a second lamp. I bought plates. I measured my living room and ordered a couch. A couch that hadn't even existed 6 months ago when all this started, and it would arrive next week. This time, that couch would be mine. Because the key was mine. Because the decision was mine. All mine. Later, in the middle of editing a food truck spot, my phone buzzed. It was Sloan. "Can I ask a really dumb question?" she wrote. "Always," I wrote back. "How do I set up autopay without, you know, accidentally putting it on your card. I actually smiled. You can't, I wrote. That's the point. She sent a laughing emoji. Then, but I'm scared I'm going to mess up. You will, I wrote. Then you'll fix it. A small step, but a step. At 5 p.m. that day, Mom sent a photo. A neatly made bed in what used to be my old room back at their house. If you ever need to stay here, she wrote. Thank you. I wrote back. I have one. That night, I watched the gift video again. Not to rehearse the anger, but to check my voice. It was calm. It stayed calm. I closed my laptop and stood in my still empty living room. And for the first time in over a decade, the quiet didn't feel like a warning. It felt like a beginning. 2 weeks later, my new couch arrived. I signed for it, set it up, sat down. And I didn't fall through. I squeezed a soft, ripe lemon into water and just let the afternoon slide by, my phone face down beside me. Mom texts less now. Recipes. The weather. Occasionally, a dated meme. Dad still hasn't apologized, not really. He grunts a hello, asks about my little business, and nods. Sloan pays her phone bill. She even got a job at a camera store and applied for a real internship. Bills, for me, are just paper now. I set walls, and I found doors. Dinner this Sunday is at 6. I'll bring lemon pie, and I'll keep my keys in my pocket. All mine.